Hello everyone and welcome back to another Philfakov Linguistic Analysis Academy video. Here at the Philfakov Linguistic Academy, we break down texts and pictures on the front pages of newspapers. Often we give them scores. Basically, we have a look at how different newspapers are creating different narratives, different ideas, how different readers of these newspapers, well, maybe they don't get a different story, maybe they don't get a different version of the same story, but there are some things that might be not the same, or different angles of the same thing. Let's put it that way. Today I'm really excited because we're gonna be covering a topic that we have been covering, the Ukraine-Russia war, which is always very sad. You know, wars are a sad thing. And today we're going to do something a little bit happier, like a potential conflict. But no one's dying there yet, and let's keep our fingers crossed that things don't go down the same road they went down in other places on this planet. Before we have a dive into that situation, let's have a quick recap of what we're looking at with the Russian-Ukraine war. We had a look at the front pages of different newspapers in different countries. Here on the left comment, Germany, England, Canada, US, Brazil. The first theory was that the closer it is, the newspaper that is, to the scene of the war, the more emotional, the more expressive, the more present that news is going to be on the front page. That turned out not to be true. We kind of had many kilometers from Australia there to Ukraine, 15,000 New Zealand, and the US 7,500, but the US newspapers were scoring a lot higher in terms of the emotions and stuff like that. So we kind of saw that didn't match that well. I can update you on that one. I haven't been making the videos recently, as you know, but it does seem like it is a little bit more present in the English newspapers, which were higher as well than the American ones there. So that geography factor does seem to be kicking in a little bit now. When it came to progressive or conservative, it did seem to be that the progressive newspapers were more emotional on the front page. We don't do the why at the Philfakov. You can draw your own conclusions. Are progressive people more emotional generally? Does that mean like we have to factor that in when when analyzing this? I don't know. But again, that's actually been the same thing. Like one of the things that we looked at was CNN and Fox News, and definitely a lot more prominence in CNN, a lot more emotion than in Fox News about this story, the Ukraine-Russia story, that is. Okay, so that's just a quick recap. What we're going to be doing today, we're going to be scoring again. And we're going to be looking at news, which is fascinating stuff. Again, the American newspapers. Sorry for the American centralism, guys, but it's just something that I guess like one of my students, saying this morning, why is it American politics is more interesting than British politics? It's not because the politics themselves per se are more interesting. It's just because you might say that the results of American elections and American political decisions tend to have a greater impact. For example, when we're looking at the amount of money being invested or sent to the Ukrainian army, the American statistics really do tower above those of Britain's, for example. So we're going to be looking at two American editions today. One of them is Fox News on the right, one of them is CNN on the left, and the topic is a senior American politician's visit or potential visit to the island of Taiwan. So let's have a little recap actually of a scoring system. And there it is, guys. So if it's quite neutral and informational, quite scientific or academic, you score it 0. When it gets emotional, you give it a 5. When it's got reptilian, like rah, really making angry, really sad, you get a 10. Okay, so this is about the Democrat. The senior politician is a Democrat politician. She's going around Asia on a tour, and she might be visiting the island of Taiwan on that tour. So, what would you expect about a politician visiting somewhere? You'd probably expect it to be fairly, straightforward, neutral, informational, really. And then think about it, it's a Democrat one. So CNN is, let's say, a left-leaning Democrat newspaper. Are they going to give it more prominence on the front page? Are they going to be more emotional, positive, or negative? Are they going to try and charge their readers? Or is it going to be Fox News on the right that's getting the readers worked up? Or are they both just going to be informational? Well, let's get into it. Let's have a look at CNN to start. And so if we just take in the front page as a whole, this is CNN. We can see it's top left, which means it's got prominence according to the way we typically analyze things in the English-speaking world. Not right to left and not bottom to top, but left to right and top to bottom. So it's definitely got prominence. There's no real distracting news. There's something about Europe drilling gas. There's something about a ship departing the port of Odessa. There's something about food. There's something about sorry, guys, we're just people who might enjoy food, I don't know, am I allowed to say that anymore? I don't know. Okay. And then this is an interesting one, like someone walking up a staircase. Fascinating stuff, really. Like, that's interesting. What does that, what we think about the Philfucker Academy is like the effect that the pictures have on us. And like, when you see a person walking up a staircase followed by other people, a very nondescript staircase, like it looks like an emergency fire exit, really. You know, what would you think that is? But anyway, that's not the topic of the day. We're doing this one here, Nancy Pelosi, right? So the first thing we do is we give the picture a score. Now, obviously, it's not making us angry. I don't know. It's not making me incredibly excited. I mean, for some people, I don't know, seeing this person, and we've really got to pay attention to this, guys, because very often you'll see when people are trying to like build up a politician or something, that they take the picture from below, and that way it kind of seems like the person's higher than they actually are. And very often they're kind of looking off somewhere. So you can see that she's looking off to the distance, right? And then, of course, in the background, you've got the stars and stripes. Well, the stars, not the stripes. You've got the flag in the background. And then they've always got, like, these pearl necklaces, I've noticed, American politicians. Do they do that in your country? Do politicians wear pearl necklaces in your country? And there you've got the matching earrings, a bit of style. Very noticeable earrings, wonderful stuff. But the main thing is looking up into the distance. What about this person here? She's also kind of looking up into the distance. So she rises up the fire escape stairs. The lift's not working, guys. The lift's not working. That's why they need to drill for more gas, because the lift's not working. Nah, who knows what. And there it is, transform Biden's presidency. So she's coming into transform. Wonderful stuff. So we can see it's prominent. We can see, look, I'm going to give it, what would you give it? It's obviously not making you go crazy with excitement or crazy with anger. Yeah, it isn't like a straightforward picture. It's designed to get you to vote for this person, that type of thing. She's not just looking at like going like that at the camera. So I'm going to give it like a 4. You know, it's got that middle 5 emotions, a little bit less. What would you give it? Would you give it a 4? Would you give it less? Maybe you give it a 1 and say, well, it's a picture of the person that it's talking about. Okay, so that's the picture, guys. Then after that, we're going to zoom in and look at the wording. Is the wording emotional? So next stop, after giving it a 4 for the picture, we have a look at the title, Pelosi expected to. So is expected to, that's a nice passive structure. Taiwan officials say. So, you know, quite formal officials say Pelosi expected to. I'm going to give that a 0. An absolute 0. Yeah, I think it's quite informational. I don't think there's any emotion there whatsoever. Yeah, so quite interesting that coming together it is, you know, positive about this Democrat candidate. It's a Democrat left-leaning newspaper. Quite informative in the headline there. So all up, the two of them go together to give a 4. 0 plus 4 is 4. I multiply it by 5, the combination of the two, because I feel that that's quite important. Gives a total of 20. Okay, and then we have a look at the little details, and maybe there'll be a bit on top of that 20. Yeah, let's have a look. So zoom in a little bit here. The stop. Okay, and then good look at that. I always like it when they put a comma, like the stop, and they embed something, and it gives us more information. It's being informative, yeah? The first for a House Speaker in 25 years. So that's quite important. You know, House Speaker. We know that she's a House Speaker. We know that it's 25 years. Would come. Fascinating modalization. Would come, not will come, because we don't know she's expected. Yeah, so really, really academic language. Would come if it happens. We don't know. We're not saying that. At a time when US-China relations. So that's a noun that's not a country. You know, it's not like US is attacking China or China is attacking the US. It's just relations, and then a boring. I never remember what the as a representative of the Philfucker Academy, I can't remember linguistic terminology. But there's a special word like a copular verb. Copular, is that right? Is that a type of religious person? Cognitive, coptive, I don't know. Anyway, I think it's called a copula, which means like the verb to be. Like it's just a boring verb. In fact, what you'll find, right, in Russian, for example, they don't even use the verb to be in the present tense. What's the point? So are, and then just a descriptive of the state, already at a low point. Okay, so again, quite informative. Would come, that's a 0. That's quite informative. Now, it does change the tune as we go down a little bit, like mainland China is just threatening us. Yeah, it's just. And that wonderful use of just. They're just threatening us. Yeah, that's just what they do. Yeah, beautiful stuff there. It's in the continuous. Is threatening, idea of motion. Yeah. Chinese man. CNN. I wish rather than say like Taiwanese man, I wish they'd say like some random Taiwanese man we saw on the street waiting for a bus who actually said something different at first, but when we prompted him in the right direction, gave us the quote we wanted because no one else wanted to talk to us. Some Taiwanese dude. There we go. And look, you can actually watch this Taiwanese dude say this. It's like, all right. This one speaks English, guys. Come over here. We've told him what he should say. I don't know if they told him what to say, but you gotta love that. It's a national newspaper. Taiwanese man. So, well, it's not Zelensky at least. We saw the Russia-Ukraine. It was like Zelensky. By the way, keep your eye on Zelensky. Like from what I've seen in the last like few times I've looked, that name has disappeared. It doesn't have the same prominence, nowhere near the same prominence it had. I've been following that closely, so I could be slightly off there. This is just the last few times I've looked. But yeah, have a look at the experts. Always think about the way they're presenting this information. If we come back up the top, officials, yeah. Not some place expecting to visit Taiwan. Woman says. Child on the street says. Beautiful stuff. Okay, so there's a little bit of negativity with some guy in Taiwan. Population of what, 20 million? So one guy out there. Okay, so still you can see overall, like we'll give it like a 1 just for that cool little Taiwanese dude. CNN comes to a total of 21. Let me put that in a different color. 20, I'm trying to write it on the person's face. 21. Okay, so 21, kind of really fairly low emotions. Let's have a quick look back at the Russia-Ukraine stuff we're looking at. And so we can see here like 21, if we have a look at, let's say, progressive or CNN type newspapers in that situation, 55, 67, a lot higher there. And, you probably expect that because it's dealing with a war. There's quite a lot of logic there. Okay, so that's it. 21, pretty low score. Pretty low score there. Let's have a look at Fox News. Do you think Fox News is going to be more emotional about this? Do you think it'll also be top left, main news story? Do you think Fox News is going to be more academic? Maybe they'll just completely ignore it. Let's have a look at Fox News. And there it is, guys. Like, I just got to say, I love this. Like, I don't know what gets you first. It's the picture, and it's just wonderful. Like, I'm going to be drawing on the person's face. I know this is a bit disrespectful. Probably in some cultures, this would be really disrespectful. So hopefully you're not from that culture if you're watching this. If you're from a culture where it's really disrespectful to like draw on people's faces, don't look. You're not going to like what I'm going to do now. Like, look at that mouth. It's just one of those. It's like all of these like little fuzzy wuzzy things that my kids like to watch. This is kind of really horrible looking. The pearl necklace is still there. Unfortunately, the earrings, I don't know. I'm not a fashion designer. Did they match? They kind of, I suppose so, like the purple, the white, and whatever the color that is. That doesn't have the same. So different dress. Was it the same day? Was it a different day? Of course, we've got American flags in the background, and not quite looking up into the distance. Kind of, I don't know how to draw it so it looks like it's looking at us. No, I can't. I'm an artist, guys. Like I wanted to draw it so it looks like it now, but I can't do that. Yeah. Okay, so she got them out, and then look at that fist. Yeah. Now think about that. Like the way the fist is held. Like, I don't know. Do you guys know how to punch someone? Like, is that how you hold your fist if you want to punch someone? I don't know. Is it like that? Or like that? Or like that? Or like that? It's not going to be like that, I don't think. No. Yeah, that looks like that looks like you're going to punch someone. The knuckles. She's going to give someone the knuckles. She's going to land in Taiwan, find that man who said something, and give him a knuckle sandwich in the head. Maybe yes, maybe no. I don't know. Okay, so she's angry. She's obviously fired up. I don't know. Is the neck strained? It's difficult to say. So definitely more emotional. I don't know. It's not really designed to get people that angry. The thing is, it's just a person. It's difficult to make a person look that emotional, like unless they're kind of heads being blown apart. Yeah, so probably I'll give it a 6. Okay, so the other one was a 4. Let's just quickly snap back to the other one. Yeah, you can kind of see there she doesn't look that aggressive. I don't know, she kind of always looks out of it, to be honest with you. I don't know. That's just my perception. It looks like she's kind of like just woken up and doesn't remember where she is or who she is, but knows what she needs to do. Quite interesting. Okay, so we can see Fox News has a different format. There is something on the top left, okay, but it's less dominant, really. So it's like dominant central news. And then do we want to scroll down straight away? Not really. There's nothing there, I think, that distracts. It's just some more faces. So it's quite prominent, really. Just a quick one. yeah, more taxes and pronouns. Yeah, very popular in America nowadays, pronouns. On the front pages, or I should say, newspapers that I happen to see. Let's qualify that a bit better. Okay, so let's zoom in and have a look at the language. Now, looking at the picture there, yeah, and sorry guys, this has to be with the picture, I think. It's such big words like red threat. Don't you love that? Red threat. When was the last time you saw red threat? You know, communism. Yay, communism, red threat. Yellow peril. Well, you can't say yellow peril, but you can say red threat. Yeah. So beautiful stuff. Red threat. And she's angry. You know, sorry, I won't draw on the face again. You know, she's red threat. Come here, you red pressure. Okay. So that's she's all fired up. Let's have a look at the words. Do they match? Okay, so as we see red threat, now this is funny because they give all this information here, which is at the top, which is where we want to look, but the bigger letters are down here. So I'm going to look at the bigger letters first. So red threat, you know, that was a 6 there for the picture. Red threat, man, that's red threat. It's got a lot of connotations, and I think particularly in a country like America where there's really big anti-communist propaganda for so many years, you know, the red threat all the way with LBJ, Australians going to Vietnam to stop the red threat. Didn't, yeah, kind of, I don't know why I'm laughing. I didn't stop, but they just died and nothing happened really. Vietnam is still a communist-run country, just so you know. There's also red threat. But interesting enough, pay attention, guys. Is Vietnam ever a red threat? Like, is it the communism that's a red threat, or is it something else? That's a different topic. So Pelosi reportedly set to. So wonderful language. Well done. I like this too. Let's see who the expert is. Maybe it's the same Taiwanese dude. We don't know. Reportedly set to visit Taiwan. Beautiful language. She's reportedly set to, but we don't know. But then we've got, look at this, a trigger, a comma, and a participle clause. How intelligent is this? Wonderful. And this is in like the big letters headlines. Like really intelligent stuff here. So triggering, triggering, dire warning, dire. Yeah, so much better when people aren't dying, is it? Oh, but this is the kind of thing that leads to death. You know, so it's all fun and games now, but then it got to, yeah. Okay. Triggers dire warning from Chinese state media. Okay, so Chinese state. Very important to say Chinese state media. Okay, state. It's got to be state media. Chinese state media. Red threat. Chinese state media. And then the word personality. Okay. Okay, and I guess that's the personality up there. And okay, guys, it's going to take a little bit of time, but let's read through the personality there. Is it triggering? Yeah. Is this a dire warning? Let her go to Taiwan. Full stop. Okay. Zhangta. Like I can feel the Chinese coming through it. But pray before departure. Pray, Americans. Pray. Wish herself a safe journey. Like, oh man, I'm sure they filtered through to try and find something that was like bad English, so like people would like feel the fact that this is evil because it's not the same English as we speak, right? But not so bad that you look at it and go, don't get what he's trying to say, because then you lose all the emotional effect. Yeah, wish yourself a safe journey. Wish yourself not to be defined by history as a sinner who starts a spiral of escalation process, expanding military frictions to a large-scale war on the Taiwan Strait. Beautiful stuff. I love it. Let her go to Taiwan. Yeah. And then a short one there with a colon, and then whooshka, just takes off. That paragraph just takes off, and it's really nice long sentence. I don't think people are supposed to process. I think the idea is you look at it and go, what's this guy talking about? Sinner, escalation, large-scale war, red threat, no. Yep. So I think, you know, when it comes to this language, all up, I think there's a lot more emotions flying. Large-scale war, red threats, dire warning. Yeah, so I'm going to give it an 8, like dire warning, red threat. The reason why I'm giving it an 8 is just because of the connotations of communism and threat and war. You know what I mean? Like it's always about some sort of form of government that's a dictatorship or a communist or something like that, and it presents a dire threat. It's different, and it presents a threat. This is what really gets like the kind of wars going, that kind of difference and presents a threat. So that's why, you know, I'm going to give it that emotional line. You might look at it and say, well, you know, it's difficult to process that, you know, I don't know. I don't know, guys, what would you give it? Like, would you give it a 10? Is it making you going like, oh my goodness me, what's going to happen? Is it going to be, well, it's not informative. You know, I'm sorry to be like dictatorial here, but there's no way you can say that that's informative and not emotional at all. I just can't agree with that. Yep. But that's it. Let's have a quick little, let's find if we can like, see if we can find something we can laugh at again. You know, that'd be really cool just to keep laughing at this stuff. Okay, son of Taiwanese immigrants. Okay. The son of Chinese immigrants. Is it the same Taiwanese man? they've only got one Taiwanese person that they can talk to. There's just the one guy they can talk to. Let's call him, CNN called him Taiwanese man. We'll call him son of Taiwanese immigrants. Maybe it's Andrew Yang, former Democrat candidate for president, son of Taiwanese immigrants. Says Pelosi must, very important, China's threats, actual harm, declaration of war. Republican says, so yeah, Republican senator or Republican guy on the street who might actually be the son of the Taiwanese immigrants. Yeah. Taiwan residents, look, that's a little bit more relevant. It's the plural residents. Yep. Are just hot ass, a nice metaphor. Yeah, so there's a lot more kind of rowdy going on there. Okay, guys, so somehow an analysis of those two things turned into 21 minutes pretty easily. I hope you enjoyed that. And you can kind of see that it doesn't matter if it's about war or if it's about people visiting things. You can still get a bit of emotion going on the front pages nowadays. Now, I think, I don't know, it's worth reflecting on that. Like, is it because we're really competing for information, attention within this information world? And that means that it's difficult to say things in an academic and neutral way, because if you do, well, it's not difficult, but if you do, no one's going to read what you're writing. You need to have these more aggressive pictures. I don't know. But interesting stuff there. What's the total? Sorry, I forgot to say the total. So we had an 8, right, for the wording around there, and a 6, 14, multiplied by 5 is 50. 14 multiplied by 5 is 50 or 70? I'm going to write 70. Right, you guys work that out. 15 multiplied by 5. Wait, that can't be right. 15, wait. 8 plus 6 is 14. Multiplied by 5 is 70. Yeah, that sounds right. Let me know in the comment sections if I can't add it up. It's a 70. We'll chuck on another 4, 5 declaration of war, threats. Chuck on another 6. 76. 76. So CNN was 20-something. Right, the video's going on too long. I'll go back and check. This one's 76. We can see that there's a lot more emotion around the Republican ones. And we're going to follow this story, guys. Probably, you know, I might have another break, I think. I'll take a few pictures, hopefully come back and revisit it. If she does visit Taiwan, what's the language going to be like? If she doesn't visit Taiwan, what's the language going to be like? You know, pay attention to yourselves. It's going to be quite interesting to see if this idea of red, threat, declaration of war keeps going in Fox News. And if CNN, I can't even remember what CNN had. Yeah, some similar ideas there about threatening, you know, a little bit more academic at low point. Okay, guys, have a great time. Look forward to catching up with you in the next one.